Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to try something a little different. We usually do our first impressions when I try out new products. However, today we are going to do a how I apply my powder foundation while we also try some new products. So we're going to have some old products that are oldies but goodies, and then we're going to have some new stuff to try out, some high-end, some drugstore. I don't usually wear a lot of powder foundation for the fact that I have dry skin, but I have gotten down a really good routine, good steps that help my powder foundation look amazing. It helps it look smooth, not cakey, blurred. I have two powder foundations that I absolutely love. One of them is the e.l.f. Camo CC powder foundation. And then the other one I've had in my collection for a while and I've used like maybe twice, like here and there. I haven't used it very often. And I don't know why, because I have used it the last 3 days nonstop and I absolutely love it. And it is the Colourpop foundation, the powder foundation that they came out with, I think it was over the summer. So we're going to use that powder foundation today. I'm going to show you the steps and we're going to try out some new products. So if you're someone who is struggling with trying to figure out how to make your powder foundation look really good, or if you have dry skin and you're trying to figure out a good routine on powder foundations or good powder foundations for dry skin. I mean, there's tons and tons out there, but these are the two that I've tried. I definitely want to try out more because I've got the step down, these routines down really well, and I've only tried these two, so I do want to try some other ones. Then make sure you subscribe, you give this video a thumbs up, and make sure you continue to watch. And we're just going to jump on into it, and I'm going to share some new products, my first impressions on those, and I'm going to show you how I apply my powder foundation. Okay guys, so first and foremost, we have our hair pulled back. Not necessarily the best look, but that's okay. It's just pulled back so we don't get anything in our hair, although I seem to always get liquid foundation in these sideburns now that my hair is finally starting to grow. I went over what happened with my hair and the medication I was taking. Anyways, but other than that, the most important thing is make sure you really hydrate your skin and give your skincare at least 30 minutes to soak in. When I use a powder foundation, I go in with a little extra moisturizer. I love the Kapari one, their brand new cream niacinamide. I think that's what's called. You guys will see that in a speed reviews video for the month of October because I started using it this month and it really is a good moisturizer. It's creamy and thick, but not too thick to wear under makeup. So make sure you have a good, either really good moisturizer or a thick one that's really moisturizing and creamy and soaks in really fast, but also wears well under makeup. And then after I do that, I will go in and do eyes. So we're going to use the Beauty Crop Stuck On You base. I really like this actually. I tried this out in a first impressions not too long ago, and at first I didn't like it. I thought it was pretty drying on my eyes, but I've used it more and more since then. I'm pretty much out of my Too Faced Shadow Insurance, which has been my holy grail, my go-to eye primer for a long time, but I would prefer to try to make this work over going out and buying another Too Faced Shadow Insurance one and then having this one sitting there going to waste. Now, you don't have to prime your lids if this is something that you don't normally do, but I do. I've got hooded eyes. I don't really necessarily have oily eyes, but I do have hooded eyes. And always make sure you apply your sunscreen too. So let that moisturizer soak in for a while. I would go with at least 15 minutes and then go in with your sunscreen and let that sit for another 20-30 minutes. Just let all of that soak in. But I have been using this and I actually really like it. The key, I think, for me, because my eyelids can get very drying, the key for me is definitely to, I gotta move some stuff around because I need my mirror a little bit closer. Just a little bit goes a long ways. So we're gonna move this mirror. I'm gonna grab my 10X mirror here just so I can make sure it's all blended in. Then we're gonna set it. And then we're going to try out a lip product. We have two colors of this lip product. I like to either use a hydrating lip gloss or a lip oil, or I will go in with my Laneige lip mask, and I will put something on my lips to kind of condition them, let them sit there for a bit before I go in with any of my product. So I'm always prepping my lips. And we're going to use this hourglass brush. We're going to use this side to set the face, or to set the eyes, sorry. We're going to go ahead and set the eyes. Then we're going to try out these new lip glosses. I would say the lip gloss is, and I'm using the Haileys Beauty Retouch Powder. That's what we're going to use to set this eyeshadow primer, and then we're going to use that to set our concealer as well. It's a really good, just thin, lightweight formula, and I really like it. It's not drying. It just blends right into my skin so easily. And I want to focus more on the face rather than the eye, so we're just going to do a quick eye look. But while we are letting that sit, here's the Haileys Beauty Retouch. We are going to go in with a new lip product. What did I do? Oh, here they are. All right, so Tower 28 has a kit for Christmas time, and I went ahead and picked up the kit, and we have two glosses here. We're going to apply this one at the end, but we're going to apply this one right now to kind of condition. It does have some color, it looks like, but it looks like it's going to be pretty sheer compared to this color. This one is in the shade Dream, and this one is Coconut. So we're going to apply Dream. We're going to see how this works as far as, yeah, that's pretty clear. I don't see, it looks like there'd be some shimmer. It looks like there's probably a little bit, but not much at all. But we're going to see how this works on its own. As like, I mean, we're going to apply the other color too, just the gloss. We're going to go a light look today because we want our base, being that it's a powder foundation, to be lightweight. So I wanted to try this color out though and just see how it helps nourish the lips while it's sitting. It went on so smoothly. It's very glossy, which I love. Got some on the actual face. And it feels really smooth. I feel like it smoothed out my lip lines a little, so that's nice. So we're gonna let that sit on there, and then we will try out this color at the end. But so far, I really like that. We'll see how it works as a hydrating lip gloss to hydrate your lips while you go in with your makeup. Okay, so the next step I do is I take any hydrating, it can be matte hydrating, whatever, setting spray. We're gonna use a NYX Bare With Me, and we're just gonna spray this all over our face. I like to, like I said, go in with my skincare, let it sit, apply a little bit extra moisturizer, but I also like to take this step and make sure my skin is nice and hydrated and very prepped. We also have a new sponge to use, so we're going to go ahead and use that when we use our concealer. We'll go ahead and help this dry down just a little, pat it in maybe, and then we will go in with our eyes while it sets the rest of the way. I got some on my shirt too, but I like to do this before I do my shadow. That way it can sit, even if I'm only doing a simple eye look like we are. Okay, so while we let that sit, we're gonna jump in, and I haven't used this eyeshadow palette in a while. It's the Tarte Little Bloom. I used to use it all the time. As you can see, it is definitely well loved, but we're gonna use it today, and we're gonna jump in with this brown shade right here, right there in the middle at first, as like our transition shade. And then we will go in with one other shade. So one of the big things for me, I have noticed with powder foundation, Like I said, I've been using this Colourpop one for last like 3 days. I've used it like once or twice before, and I wasn't wowed by it. And I think it's because it just wasn't being put on properly prepped skin. The biggest thing for me, and I feel like for anyone who has dry skin, or if you've kind of got aging skin, if you're around my age, I'm going on 37, you want to make sure your skin is very prepped. When you're at my age, you're going to have aging skin, I guess. I mean, I have definitely some problems with my skin. I've got some sun damage spots. I've got some melasma from the sun damage. I've got a little bit of fine lines and wrinkles. Not too bad. I think it's funny that in the like beauty community, now we're gonna go in with that top color up top there. This one right here, it's like a pinky. That at my age, you're considered, you know, a certain age, you're considered having a mature skin, aging skin. I don't know. I don't feel like 37 is really that old. If any of you guys are around my age or even in your early 30s, comment below. Let me know. Do you feel like that's an appropriate age to say? Like, I think they say like 35. Sorry if you can hear the doggy. He likes to wander around. Hi, Diggy. And wondering what I'm always doing when I do my videos. I'm just trying to blend out any harsh lines. And then we're going to go into the other eye with that pinky color. But yeah, so for me, the biggest thing is skin prep. Skin prep, skin prep, skin prep. And using, honestly, the right primers underneath, too. I can't, you know, I feel like everybody's different. But I have noticed that I personally can't use like a pore filling primer underneath the two powder foundations I have. Maybe I just haven't been using it properly. If anyone uses pore filling primers underneath powder foundations, let me know how you do it. And maybe I will try it. But I go in with a gripping primer, a hydrating primer. I mean, for me, like I said, hydrating my skin is like number one. Number one for me. All right, so we're going to go in with that shimmer color down there. It's a really pretty pink to kind of match that pink color we just used. Isn't that pretty? I don't know why I stopped using this eyeshadow palette. I think it's because I remember I used to really like it. I used it a lot, and then I was introduced to Colourpop eyeshadows, and I've been in love with those ever since. So I think that's why. I think I just started really gravitating more towards Colourpop, and then I've been wanting to try more drugstore eyeshadows. So I haven't used this one in a bit, but I really do like it. It blends really nice. Like I said, I'm just trying to put a little bit of color. Sometimes when I do, let's grab a paper towel. When I do it look like this, where I'm concentrating more on the complexion rather than, you know, the whole eye or the whole makeup look, and I don't focus too much on the eyes, sometimes I'll just go in with a powder bronzer. But we're going to give our eyes a look today for the sake of this video. All right, so for now we are done with that. So the next step is going to be primer. Now I absolutely love the e.l.f. gripping primer. There's definitely other ones. I did get a Complex Culture one in my BoxyCharm, and I've used that a few times. It's not bad. I also like to put this under my eyes. I feel like it helps my concealer stick and stay on. This is definitely an amazing primer. It hydrates. It definitely helps your makeup last longer. It's great. The Complex Culture one isn't too bad. Like if I didn't have this, which I'm almost out, I need to definitely get another one. This would be repurchasing my second tube. So this is still my first one. I use these more for like this type of look, like if I'm using a powder foundation or, you know, date night with the husband and I need the makeup to last, then I'll use a gripping primer, but I don't usually use them too often. Then I'm gonna press it in. I don't usually use them too often, so for how often I do use this, you would think I would have already had to repurchase one, but not yet. And I like to squeeze and squeeze and make sure I get all product out. But any gripping primer that you feel like works will work, but this e.l.f. one is absolutely amazing. And it's only 10 bucks. Like, 10 bucks is not a bad price either. I was trying to make this all drugstore, but there were just some categories I didn't have a drugstore for, so we couldn't make it all drugstore. Would have been nice though. Would have loved to have made it all drugstore. All right, while we let that soak in, we're gonna go in now with concealer. And that's another thing is with a powder foundation, you don't want to go in with like your powder foundation and then go in with any type of cream. So you want to make sure your concealer is done first, or any cream, blush, highlighter, bronzer, contour, any of that stuff you want to put under your foundation. And then you can go over later with like a powder, bronzer, blush, highlighter, which we will be doing that as well. Because a lot of times when you put on a cream product under the powder foundation, it doesn't stay. It definitely does some fading. Okay, so while that's soaking in, we're going to go on with our NYX Serum Concealer. I love this stuff. I'll use my finger to get it applied and spread out. And then I will go in with my sponge. And we got a few spots to conceal. Stress causes me to break out. And life is kind of stressful right now. And we're going to let that sit for just a second while we open up this new Wet n Wild makeup sponge. I'm not sure how new this is to the market. It has to be in the last year, and I tried not to feature anything that's over a year old, but it's definitely new to me and I wanted to give it a try. So I have a cup here of water, but here's what it looks like. I really love that. I just hope it doesn't imprint the Wet n Wild, but that's what it looks like. Let's go ahead and dip it in this cup and get it all nice and wet. See how much it can expand. Oh yeah, it's expanded. Holy cow. We're gonna squeeze it out to make sure we have all the excess water out. The water turned pink though. That makes me a little nervous, but that definitely expanded really well. I love the flat side, and then we've got the tip. So now we're gonna go ahead and blend out this concealer that we put here to camouflage these stress acnes. And then we will go in and blend out the concealer. I really like this flat side for the under eyes. I feel like it just fits really well in there. See how easily that fits? That's really nice. All right, we're gonna go now on the other side. I don't put a lot of concealer under my eyes. I mean, honestly, I probably should, because I definitely got some dark spots. Or not dark spots. I mean, I have that too, but discoloration under my eyes. But I just don't like to put a lot of stuff under my eyes. I just really don't. Let's go ahead and move that over a little. Clean that off real quick. That mirror got a little dirty. All right, so now we're going to blend this side out. And then we will go in and set. I like the shape of the sponge. I feel like it dries a little fast, so you're gonna have to, whatever product you're using, you're gonna wanna work quickly with. But I feel like it blended out that concealer pretty good. I do have a sponge that I got off Amazon that I will say I like more, but it's not a bad sponge. Not bad. I'll use it again. Now we're going to set the under eyes with the Haileys Retouch. So we're going to use the same brush here, and we're just going to go in and set the under eyes. Does anyone else make some funny faces when they set their under eyes? Or like when you do anything with your under eyes? I feel like even when I'm like putting my eyeshadow as my liner on my under eyes, and then we're gonna go in, set those spots that we had the concealer at with the acne spots. Go ahead and set that. All right, so that is all done. All right, now that has been soaked on in, so we're gonna go ahead now and go back to the eyeshadow, and we're gonna take this brown color that we used, that first transition shade, tap off some excess, and we are going to press it up against the lash line. I like to use eyeshadow as my eyeliner. I personally have never put eyeliner up on my upper lids, only because of having the hooded eyes. I know you can do it, but I feel like that would definitely take some practice. Something that I've thought about learning, thought about teaching myself, but it's not something I have done yet. Need a little bit more on this side. Kind of match the other side. Like I said, we're keeping the eyes nice and light. So that is done. Now we're going to hop into our Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara, one of my favorite high-ends. I will say though, there are a lot of amazing drugstore mascaras and a lot of amazing dupes for this mascara. So would you need to go out and spend the money unless you're like a very L'Oreal Too Faced fan? No. You can totally get good mascaras at the drugstore. I really like the Maybelline Sky High. I feel like that's a dupe for this one. I'm just trying to use it up so it doesn't expire. I'm trying to be really good about that, like reaching more so for older products that I haven't used in a while, but that are really good, obviously, but just that I haven't touched and used. That way they don't expire, or it's less likely they're going to expire. All right, now we're going to dive into two new products. This is a cream bronzer and blush that turns into a a powder, but we're going to try it. It's a new brand even to me. We got some mascara down there on the lower lash line. I will have to possibly fix that later. I think I got it. Okay, that is one thing that I don't like too much about that mascara is I have noticed, maybe it's because it is almost done, I'm almost out of it, it does flake and fall down. It's been doing that a lot lately. Anyways, we have a blush and a bronzer from Uma Beauty. It's the Flawless IRL blush in Audacity, and their bronzer On Point. It's the lightest bronzer. It's very, very natural looking and light. When I swatch it, I swatched it in a what I got. It's very creamy, but it turns to a powder. And when you swatch it like that, it doesn't look like much, right? And then we put it on the hand. And it's definitely a very light shade. However, it's going under the powder foundation. I'm going to go back. Man, that was hard to get off. I'm going to go back in with one on top. And then here's the blush. I feel like the blush is the same way. I didn't realize it was so orangey though, the bronzer, the undertone, but that was the lightest. And I felt like the next shade up, and then there's the the blush. You could even use this blush as a bronzer, honestly, because it does have that orangey brown undertone. But those two shades I felt like were just going to be the best out of the selection that there was. The other shades were either really bright, like there was like an orange one, and as long as it's like maybe a peachy pink, I'll wear that type of blush, but I don't like those bright orange, and that's what that one was. And then the other bronzers look to be too dark. I mean, the next shade up from the bronzer could possibly work for me, but I chose this one. So we're going to go ahead and go in first with our bronzer, and we're going to use the e.l.f. Putty application brush, and we're just going to tap into it. And then I am going to swipe it on the back of my hand because I don't want too much. I don't want to put too much on. But we're going to apply. Yeah, see, I got a little too much, but that bronzer should get diffused as we blend it out and as we put on that powder foundation. I feel like cream products go on so well on bare skin, which I did not realize until I started doing my powder foundation like this. And I'll be honest, I was really scared when I first started putting a cream on under my powder foundation. I would just go in with my foundation before I started doing it this way, and then would go over with a powder, bronzer, and blush. I was so scared that it would just not look good, or, you know, it just wouldn't work. So I never tried this, but it does work, like, really well, actually. So we're gonna do this side now. And I like to use a more dense brush for my bronzer and blush when it's a cream. Sometimes I'll take it up here, but today we're just gonna leave it on the cheeks. Let's try to blend this one a little bit better. I feel like it's so much easier to blend a cream product on bare skin than it is on one that has product. And then if you feel like you've maybe went up too high or you used too much, take your beauty blender and just go over it a little. See how that diffused it? I mean, again, it's not gonna matter too much because we're gonna go over it. I like that bronzer. That bronzer is nice. The formula is nice. I would say the shade is a little orangey for me. So next time I would definitely not use as much. And then it should be more subtle, and it should die down when we go over it with our powder foundation. All right, so now we're gonna go in with the blush. And I think I'm going to, it also depends on the brush. Like if I use this side of my hourglass, the bristles aren't as firm and dense. It won't be as bad compared to going in with this hourglass Vanish foundation brush, which I absolutely love. This will be in my speed reviews because I just started trying this month. But we're gonna go in with this. And I'm just going to dip in once because that was so pigmented. I only went in twice. I don't want too much. And I'm just gonna, yeah, see, just one swipe of that, and look how pigmented that is. Whew, okay. We're gonna blend her out. Blend, blend, blend. These steps might take a while, but promise you, they work. You guys will see how flawless everything looks when we're done and how seamless it all just comes together. It may look a little crazy right now, but I promise you. And I don't go too far onto the apples of my cheeks when I do my blush, just because my shape of my face. I do apply a little, but not much. And then we are just blending her out. Like I said, it's gonna look crazy at first, but trust the process. Especially this side. I feel like this side, for whatever reason, is like, our product is definitely going on like more intense for some reason. So we're gonna take that beauty blender. Okay, so we are done with these products. I really like the formula. I'm not a huge fan of the shade for both of them. I feel like right now we look a little crazy, but like I said, it's gonna come together. Just bear with me. But I do like the formula. I'll use it up. Maybe a different shade I would like. We'll see if I repurchase, but we'll definitely use these up. Again, I'm trying to use up products I already have because I do purchase a lot of stuff so we can do these type of first impression videos. So, all right, so now we are gonna hop on in to our Colourpop Powder Foundation, the star of the show. Oldie but goodie. Like I said, it came out, I believe, this summer. I have it in light 6, and it is got a nice mirror, which I've never really used. I've taken the plastic off. I haven't used it really because I normally do my makeup at my vanity. We're gonna go ahead and use it today. And even though I have a mirror here, this will give me close up. I take, ooh, this one's falling apart. These Power Puffs are absolutely amazing. I use them to set my face, which clearly we're not gonna set our face today because we're using a powder foundation. Do not go in with a loose powder or any type of setting powder and set your face after you use a powder foundation. You don't want to put a bunch of powder on. You'll definitely look cakey. Even if you do these steps and you do that, you're going to erase all of the steps that you've done to make your powder foundation look smooth and flawless. So we're going to go in with the Power Puff. You can use whatever, but for me personally, I feel like a powder puff, I can press it in really well. I can swipe it on really well. I don't like using a brush for pretty much anything. If you're not new to my channel, you've realized that. You've seen me use beauty blenders. I have used a brush for like concealer before to apply every so often, and then I'll blend it out with a brush. But these are amazing. Got them on Amazon. It came in a pack of like 6 or so. This one definitely is starting to go out, but we got more. Even gave each one of my kids one. All right, so we're gonna swipe on the color here, and I like to start at my neck. So I do 9 times out of 10 bring my foundation down to my neck. So I'll swipe it on and then I will pat it in. Especially if I did not get the shade correct, which a lot of my foundations are purchased online. I've gotten better at shade matching myself, but for the most part, sometimes I'll go a little too light or a little too dark. For me, I find it a little hard because I do have my sun damage spots. So, all right, so we start there, and then I will go ahead and start on this side of the face, and I'll take it. Make sure you always, even when you're using liquid foundation, you get your foundation all the way down here. So we're gonna start here, and we're just gonna start applying it, getting it on the face, and then we're gonna press it in circular motions. The key is press it in, and I'm going all the way up to my ear. I mean, you're gonna wanna get every inch of your face. And then we go ahead and go up from there, apply it, and then press it in. Like I said, may take a while, and especially when you first start. I can go a lot faster now that I've been doing this for a while. Typically, I will use my e.l.f., but like I said, I don't know why I neglected this one so much. And then now we're gonna go right here at the nose and there on the cheek where we have some pores. And you see how now the color is diffused with that blush and bronzer. You can still see it, but it's not as much. And then anywhere that you need some extra coverage, you can go back over, but I like that. It is so smooth. It has blurred my pores. It looks amazing, absolutely amazing. So now we're going to go here on the chin, the lip, and the nose, which that's typically where I end up losing coverage. Sorry guys. Is right here on my lip, my nose, and my chin. So I usually add a little extra in these areas and make sure I'm really tapping it in. And then we're gonna do the nose, and anywhere that you have applied concealer, you just need to be careful that it has dried down, you blend it in really well, and it has been set really well. So you're not, I've done that, or I haven't done that, and for whatever reason, it makes my face really patchy. But you guys see the difference? That's just so smooth and blurring. The blush and bronzer is still there, but it's diffused and looks really pretty compared to this side that doesn't have anything on it. All right, we are gonna go ahead and do the forehead now. Typically I go on this side, but we're gonna do the forehead, and then I'm gonna speed it up for this side because we've already, it's the same thing on that side. So when I do that side, it's gonna be sped up. And I always start up here at my hairline and then work my way down. And the reason why I personally do that is because I've got the most sun damaged spots right there. And so that's where I want most of my coverage. I don't need it, oh, excuse me guys, on the rest of my forehead as much. And then we are tapping it in. Make sure you get all the way to that hairline. You want everything to be seamless. You want everything to blend and work really well together. Voila, and the forehead's done. All right, so now I'm gonna, gosh, I am so sorry, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and apply it to the other side, speed the video up because I don't want this video to be 1,000,001 years long for you guys. It's the same thing on this side that I did on that side. So let's go ahead and apply it over here now. If I can get, there we go. All right. All right, and make sure you stay away from your under eyes. You don't want to obviously put any of this on top of that concealer. I haven't used this powder foundation to set my under eyes, but for how smoothing it is on the face, and I've got sun damaged spots, I've got acne right now, I've got a lot of things, it probably would be amazing on the under eyes as well. All right, now I'm just going back through. Hey kiddo, there's sleepyhead Lillian, and just making sure everything is blended in. Are you going back to bed? Oh wow, she's up at 9 o'clock. She has no school. They have conferences the next 2 days. All right, so we are done with that part, and just look how amazing and smooth it looks. And it is a little light for my skin, and that's why I went ahead and blended it down there. but it looks really, really good. And you could leave it as this and not go over with a bronzer and blush, a powder, and leave the cream on because it just looks so smoothing and diffused and beautiful. Like I said, have no idea why I sat on this for so long. I have been obsessed with this powder foundation, and wearing this the last few days is what made me think of doing this video to share with you guys how I apply it. All right, so now, this may seem repetitive, but I'm promising you it's gonna work. You wanna go in one more time, well, 2 more times. I do this 3 times, but I'm gonna spray my sponge and then tap it off on the back to make sure there's not too much on it. And then you're gonna wanna go through and set all of that down. So just a quick go over everything just to make sure that's set down in place with a setting spray. And that will keep it in place. It will give you a little bit of hydration again. And then we do it again at the very end to mesh everything together and give you that hydration. Because like I said, when you have dry skin, hydration is key. Everything looks really, really good. Okay, now we're going to jump in real quick and do brows. I'm going to go ahead and speed this process up. This is the e.l.f. Instant Lift Brow Pencil. I love this one for a quick and easy brow look. My favorite drugstore one is the CoverGirl Micro Brow. I just need to pick that one up. I ran out of it. This is the other one I have, but this one works really well. I do normally like a thinner tip, but this one has a thicker tip to it. But that's what makes this one nice, is when you're in a rush and you just want to quickly throw on some brows, this one works well because it covers a lot of area in a quick amount of time. But I'm going to go ahead and do this, but speed the process up in the video so we aren't sitting here forever. They're just brows. I'm just going to fill them in. All right, and that one is done as well. He's working. All right, so now we are going to jump into our powder products here. We have a powder bronzer. It is the L'Oreal Infallible bronzer in the shade. Which shade do I have? I have it in Fair. I probably should go up a shade too light, but this one works well as well. And we're going to go ahead and now put on some powder bronzer. I will tap it on and then swipe it like that. And then we'll go ahead and do the other side. I don't usually blend it by sweeping it like this when I have a liquid foundation on, just because I don't like to disturb the foundation, especially if it's a cream on a liquid. But this is a powder bronzer on a powder foundation. So we're gonna add just a little bit more over here to have it match. So it's okay to kind of blend it that way, but we're just going to lightly do it like that. And then we're going to go in with the Physicians Formula Strawberry Jam. I love the way that this looked when I bought it, but as soon as you use it, the little strawberries wear off, which kind of sucks because it was cute packaging, but really pretty. And we're going to go in and go ahead and put some on our cheeks. Very pigmented, so you don't need a lot. And then I'm also going to put some on the nose. Just see how, I mean, that's not very much at all. I've definitely gone crazy in the past with this, not realizing how pigmented it is. So you don't need very much at all. All right, and then again, Physicians Formula, their Let's Toast bronzer is a good bronzer. I mean, not bronzer, highlighter. I like the highlighter color. I will say it's very powdery. Like, watch this. I'll just tap it in once and look how powdery that is. I don't like that, so I'll have to tap it off. But if you're not careful, you tap too much off, you're tapping pretty much all of it off. But then we're gonna go ahead, but see how blinding and beautiful that is. It is really pretty when the light catches it. It's just very powdery, but I do like it. It is a pretty color. So we're gonna apply this highlighter. We're gonna do the tip of the nose, the tip of, or the bridge of the nose, the tip of the nose, the brow bone, and then we're gonna go in and put some in the inner corners and underneath the brow bone. And then we're gonna try out that new lip product. And then we will go ahead and spray our setting spray again at the end and set down the face once more. Like I said, I know that seems repetitive to do it like 3 times. One in the very beginning, one in the middle, one at the end, but it really does help just mesh everything together. All right, we're gonna use the Colourpop Lippy pencils, and this one is in the shade Cool BFF. Let's actually take off our lip product first. I really think that held up pretty well, that lip gloss that we tried. And it was very hydrating, and it wasn't sticky at all, which I don't usually like sticky ones. But we're gonna go ahead and apply this lip liner. It's a brown lip liner, and the lip color we're gonna use looks more pinky, but this lip liner's almost gone. But lately I've been liking to use a darker lip liner with whatever lip product I'm using. Okay. So we've got that lip product on, and that lippy is gone. The first one out of that Colourpop collection, and it's gone, which is fine. I mean, I have a lot of them, so no biggie. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and try out the Tower 28 lip gloss in Coconut. Let's go ahead and swatch it. Ooh, that's really pretty. It's a really pretty color, and it's really glossy. I'm assuming it's gonna be glossy like the other one, but sometimes more pigmented colored glosses or lipsticks are going to be a little different than one that is a lighter shade, because this one was more, let's go ahead and swatch that one just really quick. This one, like I said, was really nice, really hydrating. It looks gold, but on the lips, it's like clear and very, very little shimmer, but it was really hydrating, really nice. This is definitely one that I would apply at nighttime, because I do apply either a lip oil, a hydrating lip gloss, or my Laneige sleepy mask, which I have right here. Sometimes I'll apply this and then also a lip product on top of it at nighttime. And then during the day, like I said, I use one of those 3 things as well to prep my lips while I'm doing my face makeup. So this will be a really great one for that. Or honestly, just for a very quick and easy no makeup look, just throw this one on, because it does have a little bit of color when it hits the light, but it really is on the lips very clear, and that's just so glossy. Like, both of them look really glossy, but this clear one that I put on the beginning, love. The only other thing I've tried from Tower 28 is their Sunny Days Tinted SPF moisturizer, and I'm obsessed. I haven't used it in a bit just because, like I said, I'm trying to use up older products so they don't expire. And that one is more of a recent purchase, but I love it. All right, so let's go ahead and put this on. Ooh, this one is nice and smooth as well, going on just like the other color. And it's definitely more pigmented, I feel like, in the container than on the lips. It's actually pretty close to my natural lip color, which is fine. We're just trying to gloss up these lips and keep them hydrated. And I've had these sit, I've had these sitting there for a while. And I wanted to give them a try. There are a few other products I have to try out, but not in today's video. That will be a different one. I don't have a lot right now, like I typically do, but yeah, okay, so there is that gloss. It's really nice and smooth and hydrating, and I really do feel like it smoothes out my lip lines too. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead once more spray this. Again, you want to tap off any excess because you don't want to get your face super wet, and that's why I'm not going and just spraying my face with the sprayer, because if you get it wet, it will ruin the powder. Well, I should say if you get really wet, because we're getting it a little wet by doing this, but not too wet, and that's why we are tapping off the back of our hand. And make sure you don't get those brows when you're doing this. And there we go. It meshes everything together. All right, guys, so that is it. That is how I apply my powder foundation. Like I said, I know a lot of steps seem very repetitive. And obviously this video is going to be a little bit longer. It usually takes me, I would say, about 30 to 40 minutes if I'm like, if I have the time to take my time. If I'm kind of in a hurry, it takes me about 25-30 minutes to do this look. But the video, of course, is going to be a little bit longer because I had to walk through the steps. But it really does last all day. We'll go over real quick the 3 key things to your powder foundation looking smooth, seamless, not cakey. And then we will review the few new products. Like I said, we only had 2 new products today to try out, but they were pretty good. All right, so the 3 main things is hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Make sure you're using a really good moisturizer, whether that be a thin like gel moisturizer but is really, really rich and moisturizing, or a thick one that you can apply well under foundation. The Kapari one, I will say, is amazing. That's one I've been using, and I use that morning and night, and it does wear very well under makeup. I mean, our makeup looks really good today. And the next thing would be definitely use a setting spray to help mesh everything together. And the number 3 is make sure you put your creams on before. And when you're, like I said, when you're using the setting spray, don't spray it on your face. Take your sponge, spray it on here, tap it off a few times on the back of your hand so it's not really wet like you do when you get it wet to do like concealer or foundation and you squeeze out the excess. Make sure any excess is tapped off, and then go over it a few times all over your face. And take your time. Like, don't rush when you're first trying out these steps. You'll eventually get it, and then it will go faster for you. When I first started it, like I said, it took me like 40 minutes or so. So those would be the 3 main steps. And when it comes to your cream products, you can either apply a lot under your foundation because it's your foundation is going to go over that, so it is kind of diffuse the look of your cream products, or you can put a little bit on. We went a little too much today. As far as me personally, I don't usually, since I've been doing this type of look, use that much bronzer and blush, but I think it wasn't necessarily how much I use. It was the pigmentation of the bronzer and blush, and that's why I like to tap a little bit off on the back of my hand. If I didn't do that, it would have been a whole lot more. And it really is easy to apply a cream product on bare skin. It wouldn't have taken me as long to blend that in if I hadn't had too much on my face. But just make sure everything is blended in really well, and you put those creams on under your powder foundation. You can always go back over it with another blush and bronzer like I did, which I usually do. Every once in a while, I won't put a cream under the foundation. I'll just go in with the foundation and then do a powder, bronzer, blush. But for the most part, lately, since I've been able to get that down and figure out what's good for my skin and how to get it blended in really well, I've been going in with a cream. Oh, and I guess number 4 is make sure you have a really, really good gripping / hydrating primer. So I guess there's 4 things. Like I said, the e.l.f. one, absolutely amazing. I need to get another one. I do have the Complex Culture one I got in my BoxyCharm, and I'll use that one when I run out of this. I probably have one more use out of this one, maybe two, if I can squeeze it out. Before I have to repurchase, I will go through the Complex Culture one first, just so it doesn't go to waste. It's not a bad one. It works, but this one I feel like works a lot better. Your foundation will stay longer. This one's more hydrating. The Complex Culture one is more gripping. This one's gripping and hydrating. So make sure you get a really, really good gripping primer. You hydrate your face. You put your creams on under your foundation and you make sure it's all blended in well. And then you use that setting spray 3 times. In the beginning, like after you, like if you set your eyes like we did, and then spray it down with the setting spray, let it sit while you work your eyes and everything else, and then by the time you're ready to go in with that gripping primer, that will be all set. And then once you get the gripping primer on and you get the cream products on, you're gonna go over it again, and then at the end you'll go over it again. All right, guys, so on to the new products we tried today. We have the Uma Beauty bronzer and blushes. I do really like the formula. They're really creamy, and I like how they're a cream to powder, so they will set down as a powder. I'm just not sure of the shades. This one is a little orangey on me, but I will use it up. Maybe if I repurchase, I'll go up 1 shade. But that one just looked a little dark for me. So I don't know. The undertone of this one isn't perfect, but the formula is great. This one is a little darker than I expected it to be. So again, a great formula. It was just the shade, but the other shades were really dark or like a bright orange. And the only time I do orange is if it's an orangey pink. So I do like these. They're like a hit or miss. I like the formula. I would probably like them better if I had different shades. And then these glosses, I love. So both of them are just so hydrating. They're so glossy. I mean, look at my lips. And I feel like they help smooth out your lines. They're so hydrating. This one we applied at the beginning of the video, and it was a little dry. Like, okay, dry isn't really the word. It was still on my lips, but not as glossy. So you probably will have to reapply these throughout the day, but I'm fine with that. I usually carry whatever lip product I'm wearing that day with me, or at least the gloss part of it. Because I usually, if I apply lipstick, 9 times out of 10, a gloss is going on top of it. But I really, really like these. I think these are worth it. They came in a kit. I actually got 4, unless I bought it twice. I thought it only came with these 2 colors, but when I got my Sephora order, I had 2 sets of each color. So I have 2 of this one and 2 of this one. So maybe I accidentally purchased it twice. Either way, you're going to get a set like this, and I really like them. I want to try more Tower 28 stuff. Because I've been in love with these, and I love their Sunny Days tinted SPF. So I'm definitely going to have to, in the future, try out more from Tower 28. All right, guys, and then this sponge was also new. I like the flat side. I thought it was so easy to go through and set down our face with that setting spray and to do our concealer. It's not my favorite. I have one that you guys will see in the speed reviews. That's my favorite that I've really been enjoying this month. I'll use it. It was only like $3 or $4 too. So not a bad price. It's definitely well worth the money that you will spend for it, but it's definitely just not my favorite. I don't know why, because it is really nice and bouncy and soft. I do like this flat side. It did get a lot bigger. For me, I didn't feel like it really, I don't know. I just don't think it got my concealer spread out as good as other ones that I've tried, or my favorite one that I have came across this month that you guys will see my speed review. But it is not a bad one. Would I repurchase it? Maybe in a pinch, yes. But I would much rather spend a few dollars more for the favorite one that I found this month and get a pack of them on Amazon that you, like I said, you guys are seeing the speed review, over getting this one, even though it would be like $7 more, I think. No, let's see. It'd be like $6 or $5 more. However, you get a pack, so you get more than one. And I really, really do like them. They hold up really well, and they just apply any liquid, cream, everything really good. Not a bad sponge though, so go ahead and pick it up if you're thinking about it. You won't be disappointed, just not my favorite. All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and let you go, but thank you so, so much for watching, and I will be back very, very soon. Bye.